If you have been following me up in LinkedIn, you probably noticed that I have done a lot of free mock interviews for non-US IMGs since May. And that is pretty much every day during the business days. And then on the weekends, I provide the extensive personalized feedback for them. And I noticed there is this one big red flags that a lot of non-US IMG fall into, and they don't even realize that they're actually making those mistakes. And that mistake is being inconsistent. In other words, you are contradicting yourselves. Now, when I say being inconsistent, I don't necessarily mean like, oh, actually, I'm sorry, I mentioned that I did like 10 publications, but actually I only did like 8. Or if I said that I did 5 months of USC, but actually it's like 3.5. It's usually not that kind of issue, not kind of contradictions. Although that also sounds really bad, but sometimes if it's just a miss a little bit, it could be an honest mistake. What I want to bring here is a contradicting your own ideas. The words doesn't match your actions, or the words doesn't match your words. The sentence or the things that you just mentioned a moment ago. So in order to show you that and explain to you, I'm going to show you 3 clips where I noticed some form of inconsistencies. Now in the first clip is going to be a soft inconsistency, like, well, probably some people, if they're not picky, they'll let it slide. The second one is stronger, and the third one is even, in my opinion, a stronger case of being inconsistent. The problem with being inconsistent is like you start to question, like, I mean, you did mention that. Did you really mean it? You're gonna have that kind of feeling. We're gonna take a look at those clips, and then after we complete it and watch all those clips, I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm gonna give you a basic rule of thumb on how to avoid contradicting yourself, how to avoid being inconsistent. And there's just a simple rule of thumb that I want to teach you, and I want to make sure that you don't fall into this mistake. Now, before we get into the video and watch, I just want to let you know that I'm going to run another free webinar, another free training. It's going to be about the interview. So the topic is why and how you can match with small number of interviews, even if it's just one. It's just going to be a free training. They're going to be linked down description below. You click that, put your name and email address, and you're going to get the information about that training. All right. So without further ado, let's get into our first video, and we're gonna watch it. I'm gonna put my headset on. I'm sorry I don't wear a Bluetooth. Please note that there are going to be other types of mistakes in the video. Maybe we can help the applicants to give stronger answers, which I did give a feedback about that. And there's some technical issues, lightning issues, background issues, non-verbal issues. I'm not gonna talk any of that. Okay, I'm not going to discuss that. That's going to be for another day, and then that's going to be for the why and how you can match with one interview and how I can help you with that. This is going to be a different one. This video is going to only focus on the inconsistencies, okay, and then how we can solve that. All right, let's get to watch our first clip. So, why are you interested to come to the US for training?
That's a very good question. So, throughout my medical training, actually, I served in a lot of rural areas and a lot of underserved communities, because of which I saw a very big gap in the healthcare and what we could offer our patients. And I also realized that the United States is the main hub for a lot of research opportunities, and which I never had, unfortunately, access to during my medical school. So my primary goal was to be able to get some mentorship, learn about more breakthroughs in medicine and how I could help patients and bridge that gap and maybe bring some of those ideas back to my country and these underserved communities and help them out.
Okay, so have you done any research?
I've been working on an abstract right now on cardiac MRI and how we can detect heart failure with preserved ejection fracture, heart failure with preserved ejection fraction in women. specifically, but it's still a work in progress, and I'm doing literature review, so I'm right now in the middle of reading different texts and analysis and clinical trials that I'm working on writing that.
Okay, so I create that clip. Obviously, I cut it and then make it a little bit obvious. Although actually there are multiple questions in between that, But I can't help but notice about that inconsistencies. It's kind of soft inconsistency. Some people will let it slide, but basically, she is saying that one of the reasons why she comes to the U.S. is because of research, right? And then I asked, "Have you done any research?" And she said, "No." So how could it become your actual drive to come to the US if you actually never done research before? Do you actually know if you enjoy doing research? It's a tedious process, right? Preparing manuscript, doing the biostatistic, etc. It's a very tedious process. Do you even enjoy doing it? I mean, you haven't really done much about it. It's as if saying, "Oh, I really love to go to Japan because I heard the sushi was great." Oh yeah, how many sushis? I mean, have you been to restaurant sushis before? Enjoy a multiple type of different restaurant probably here around this area. And you said, "Well, I've probably only gone to once, and but I heard that it's really good over there." It's kind of questions like, do you actually once come to Japan because of the sushi? You see what I mean? It's kind of soft inconsistency because there's a multiple reasons that she provided there about the gaps and the healthcare, something that she wants to bring from the US to India, things like that. But you just can't help to notice that research becomes questionable. I mean, is that really the thing that drive you to come to the US? You never tried it before. So again, some people might let it slide. It's kind of soft inconsistency. Let's take a look at the next clip. And then why are you interested to apply for internal medicine?
The reason I'm interested in internal medicine is, first off, there are a vast number of cases that we can deal with, from acute management of patients to chronically ill patients. There's just always the number of pathologies that are involved. It's just like the subject that gets me very interested, number one. And another thing is, when you're in internal medicine, you, especially as a hospitalist or an internist, you get to bridge the communication gaps between all of the subspecialties that are involved. And in bigger hospitals, I've noticed that that's usually something that's overlooked, the communication gaps. So I am very glad to play a role in patient care in that aspect. And also, internal medicine is just a subject that has always excited me. So even during my clinical rotations in my medical school, I was always drawn to the subject, and how every patient is different from each other. And even if they have the same diagnosis, the way that you approach the patient is all about, developing that rapport with them. And being able to develop that rapport, I felt, was more plausible in internal medicine, just because you'll be dealing with them for a very long period of time. And I really loved that aspect about it, and building those connections with my patients.
Okay. Are you more interested in becoming a hospitalist or primary care?
Given the choice, if I had to pick one over the other, I think I would pick inpatient care, just because I have done one rotation in inpatient in nephrology, and I was exposed to a lot of critical cases.
Okay, let's just stop over here. So I asked the questions, why do you love internal medicine? She provides some examples there. And then the last example she brought in, this is the last example, is how she loves to build that rapport. And then she literally said that that's the part that she really loves, the aspect that she really loves of the internal medicine. And then when I asked, whether you want to work at primary care or an inpatient, like hospitalist, she mentioned hospitalist or like in the inpatient. So it makes you question, did you really love that aspect of the medicine, like providing longitudinal care or providing rapport with your patients, long-term relationship, build that? Did you really mean it? Well, in this case, again, some people might be not as picky, let it slide, because, I mean, she mentioned multiple reasons why she wants to become an internal medicine doctor. And then that could be that just a small aspect of it, possibly, and she is completely fine to let that part go. But actually, she didn't really mention about that part at all. After that, she just mentioned about how she actually loves to be in the inpatient and then dealing with all the acute care cases. So this becomes some of the soft inconsistency, I would say, depending on how you see it. That you mentioned, that's the part that I really love, the aspect that I really love, but I'm not gonna go that route, even though I really love that part. Some inconsistencies there, you kind of like contradicting yourself, because you just say a moment ago you love that aspect. You see, it would make more sense if you said that, well, I love the both part. There is a benefit in the outpatients. I really love that aspect, but the inpatient, I really not love that aspect. So it's kind of like conflicting which part I want to go. Maybe I'm leaning a little bit on the inpatient side, and I kind of let go on the building rapport and long-lasting relationship with the patients, and then choose on that, because I kind of enjoy doing the acute care cases over that part. So if you explain it that way, probably is much better and more consistent. Okay, so that is basically that first video. I mean, it's the first same. I mean, we have 2 clips on the first applicant. Now we're gonna move on to the second video, and this one is actually a little bit more contradictions happening. So why do you decide to come to the US for residency training?
So US medical residency is one of the toughest medical residency, and one of the medical residency that makes us doctor to be recognized around the globe. And the residency also offers a different kind of training. Like the way we train in our home country is a bit different from the US clinical residency. So in our home country, the things that are written in the book that I have read, the Harrison or the Davidson, are not followed as a whole in what's written in the book. But in the US, the evidence-based approach that the hospital prefer is the thing that really connects to me, and that's how I want to be trained in the future as a doctor. So that's why I want to pursue my career in the US.
Okay, very good. Now, can you tell me how many months of US clinical experience have you done?
Currently, I just gave my OET examination. I do not have any US clinical experience as such now. I am planning to apply for visa soon, as soon as the ECFMG pathway gets open. Then I will be having my ECFMG certificate, and then with the step 3 permit, I will be applying for visa. And along with that, I am also planning for a US clinical rotation then.
Oh. So the main question that I asked him, why you want to come to the US for training? And then he mentioned about how the evidence-based approach is being applied, how the medical curriculum is better. And then I asked, expecting that he has done some US clinical experience, actually, because he mentioned all of that just now. And then he said that I've never been in the US. I'm applying for my visa. So that actually means he never really been to the US before. So how would you know all of those? How would you know about the evidence-based? So this becomes like contradictions. Like, it doesn't really make so much sense. Are you really saying that just because of the sake of you want to say it? You feel like that's just a good answer, or it's just your assumptions? It becomes unreal, and it's kind of like contradicting yourself. It's contradicting ideas. How come you know about all these things if you've never been to the US before? How come you said that, oh, this is how they applied, that Harrison, everything will be applied in the US? You've never been there before. How it feels like it's just a made up answer. That's what it feels like to me, to be honest with you. Right? So I feel like it creates a sense of he is not being genuine and honest. Is that really the reason why he wants to come to the US from the first place? Or it's just something that he wants me to hear? So this is the issue for this video clip. Now we move on to watch the last clip, and this one I would like you to pay a bit more attention because it's a little bit long. I probably kind of point out for you, and that can kind of help you where I'm leading toward this. Why do you choose to become a family medicine doctor?
So, why I choose family medicine over other specialty is because, when I was doing my internship after my medical school, I came back to India. I passed my licensing exam in India as well. And then to get your self-license in India, you need to do 1 year of internship. So when I was doing that internship in India, I was posted in one of those rural area for 3 months. And when I was posted in rural area, I was, I was treating doctor, I would say, but under the supervision of consultant and physicians, attending physicians, right? So when we were treating those patients, I realized that, most of the time we don't just treat. Most of the time we just prevent lots of stuff. We can do lots of prevention stuff. I mean, you don't need to treat lots of disease. You just can prevent like very easily. But for that, the patient should be educated, right? I would say, and that thing is really lacking over here. And
I'm going to stop right there. He did mention that a lot of disease we can just prevent. This is when he came back to India doing his internship in the rural area. A lot of disease can be prevented, but the patient needs to be educated, and that is really lacking over here. Right. So now I'm going to continue.
That struck me, that I wanted to do something that educate the patient, that prevent those stuff. So, and the care should be patient-centered care. And like there is lots of incident happened. Like in here, I saw many patients. I also mentioned that stuff in my personal statement. Like when patient gets snake bite or something, they don't first see the ear doctors. That's really weird. I mean, we can. It's definitely. I mean, most of the time the snakes is non-toxic, non-venomous. But what if it's venomous? They cannot survive. When they come to the ER, once patient is, the condition is literally very bad, and then they rush to the hospital. But then doctor can do lots of stuff, because by the time the real time when the patient needs intervention has already been gone. So, and it requires really patient education. So I wanted to pursue that stuff, and actually I felt satisfaction with doing this, and that's why I really wanted to pursue family medicine over the stuffs.
The story that you just given me was giving me an idea. Probably you are also interested in some kind of a public health. Is that something that you're interested in? So when he mentioned about the educations, etc., to the community, when I help that community, it just come into my mind naturally. Is he interested in doing a public health, like a master of public health? Because that is more like community based rather than the family medicine. So that's kind of like naturally where I'm leaning into, and that's why I asked him if he interested to actually getting a master or courses or college or extra some education related to the master of public health. Like master in public health, there's some courses, not only courses. I mean, I would say, college educations here, people getting masters. I think it's called the MPH, Master of Public Health. Is that something that you're interested in as well?
I would say I'm not interested in public health, but what I'm more interested is in when I wanted to pursue the family medicine, I am more interested in going into the community, going into the underserved community, and educating them and educating them to do the timely tests to prevent some diseases, prevent some cancer. Let's say if we can do mammogram for women's health to prevent breast cancers. Like as you say, right? If I'm interested in public health, I'm not interested in like policy making and all this stuff, but I am interested in this manner, like in preventive and in educating and in empowerment of the people. Yeah.
So I'm going to stop right there. And then he mentioned that he is not interested in public health. And then he would like to just go into the community, right? And then do some preventive with, well, I think it's fair enough. Because he's just saying that he wants to be a clinician where he meet people and then provide some education and prevention to people in that community, like serve that community. And how do you see, what do you see yourself doing about 10, 15 years from now? Now, the reason why I ask what do you see yourself doing like years from now, because he has a motivation why he becomes to family medicine from the first place, right? Because of the lack of educations over here, he said, right? And then he wants to serve the community, not to become a making public policy or some sort, but he wants to do preventive. He wants to jump into the community. So I want to know what's his motivations, like what's gonna be the dream, what he's gonna do in the future.
So definitely, yeah, I could not predict like where I will be in 10 to 15 years, but I would say at least in 6, 7 to 8 years, right after my residency, I'll pursue what I will say is like I will definitely do the practice in urban or suburban area in the outpatient settings. So where because this is where I wanted to begin my journey. From in the rural setting or in the urban or suburban setting, all right, I would say. So from there, I wanted to start, I wanted to begin my journey as an patient, and I want to see the change in the community. I want to work, I have also another dreams like opening an NGO just for women's health, I would say, for breast cancer prevention and cervical cancer prevention. So I would definitely do that in the future once I will be a family medicine physician. Yeah.
So here he mentioned about I want to go into the community, make a change in that community, go to suburban, maybe urban area. I mean, he did mention about the rural, and then he changed quickly with the suburban and the urban word. Fine, okay. But let me ask you this question, okay? Because we have been following the answer of this guy for quite some time now. In the last 5 minutes, he mentioned and reason why he wants to become a family medicine in the first place, because he went to the rural area in India and saw the lack of education, and you can do a preventive, right? And then I asked if he wants to become a public health. He said no. Fine, we'll take that. And then I asked, what's your plan in the future? He said that NGO, and then want to go to suburban area or urban area, and make a change in the community. When he said that, which community do you think he's referring to? I want you to try to put an answer in your mind now, okay? Which community is he referring to? And if he said that I'm going to go to the suburban area, which suburban area is he referring to make that change, providing education and preventive, etc.? Which community? Pick an answer. What sounds natural for you? And that's the reason why I asked the next question. Mm-hmm. Are you planning to stay in the US after you complete your residency training, or you plan to go back to India and then provide a lot of those preventive and then educations and all those that you just mentioned?
No, I'm planning to stay in the United States only.
There you go. You got your answer. Was that there's a discrepancy on what you think the answer should be? So let's just continue for now. I want you to hear the complete answer.
After completion of my residency, but I don't want to limit myself to the US only. Like you can say that, right? This we in this area, in this generation, after 2000, the internet is evolving so fast, right? The YouTube is there, Instagram is there, Twitter is there, uh, and to educate people, you don't need to be in those community. Let's say if I'm from India, I don't need to be here just to educate people in my community. I can educate them just by starting some maybe maybe just simply I would say some channels, maybe some community programs back in India, and sometimes it don't require to be here. Sometimes it just needs some funding because of lack of financial. They can do stuff over here, right? So I would definitely do that once I definitely have enough funding, and then I can give back to my community as well. But I will definitely looking forward to work in the US only in the future.
So basically, it feels that there is a discrepancy here. If you haven't followed, these are going to be the premises, right? Why you want to become a family medicine from the first place? Well, because I went to rural areas of India and then see that a lot of people don't understand things, a lack of education is the problem of the issue over here. And then I asked if he is actually interested in public health. He said no. And then after that, he mentioned about that he wants to work in the community and make a change in the community. You naturally would think the community that you're referring to would be the one that you just mentioned, that actually give you the motivations to become a family medicine from the first place, right? And then when I asked if he actually wants to go back to India, maybe there is some work that he wants to do, he said, no, I'm just gonna stay in the US. I'm just gonna use the internet. So it really questions after you follow those premises. And then this is, by the way, it's not a cut clip. Okay, this is a continuous conversation. I'm just following the flow of the conversation, just following what he actually said, and then try to follow his logic. That's what I usually do during the mock interview. And then it's kind of like probably a little bit different than the other people do, because you put a bunch of questions, answer, put another question, answer. No, I kind of like try to get the conversations flowing, and that's what the real interview is going to be like. It's a conversation, it's not a monologue, right? And then so I try to follow through, and then I arrive in this situations where, wait, so you want to stay in the US? It just makes you wonder, did he actually mean it? Like, is that really his motivations of becoming a family medicine from the first place? It feels off. Now, I only give you like 3 clips, but actually many times there is quite a number of contradictions that it exists. Consistency, sometimes it's soft inconsistency, sometimes it's more stronger, sometimes it's even stronger contradictions, like this one, because when I follow the flow of conversations, it feels off. Now please note that I'm not saying that he's intentionally lying or insincere in his answer, but because of the inconsistencies of his idea, it may come across as being dishonest from the interviewer perspective, and we don't want that. So now we come to this. How do we avoid this issue? Sometimes you don't realize that you're actually contradicting yourself. So this is going to be the main rule of thumb. It's very, very simple. In order for you to give an authentic answer and an honest answer, basically, your answer during the interview has to be the same with the answer outside the interview. Let me say that again. In order for you to be authentic, the answer during the interview has to be the same as the answer outside the interview. If the answer is different, then obviously you're not actually being completely honest to yourself. And you probably want to look deeper into yourself more on why you actually want to come to the US, or why you want to become an internal medicine doctor, and all of those. Whatever that might be, the answer should be consistent Only the delivery would be different. I mean, during the casual moments, you know, hey bro, the reason why I come to the US, well, they give like 7 days on, 7 days off, and you become a hospitalist in the US. That sounds pretty cool. I have a really good work-life balance, you know, and they're very reasonable. The ACGME give a rules of 1 day off per week, you know, night floats is a 12-hour shifts, you know, you don't go like overnight and then going to the next day for most programs, for example, and then you enjoy that part of coming to the US and then being trained here. Maybe that's one of the reasons, right? And then so if that's the case, then during the interview, your answer should be the same. But you can say it completely differently. Use a different delivery, make it more professional. I enjoy how the US cultures and doctors value work-life balance. You know, for example, when I graduate become a hospitalist, I can do a 7 on and 7 off. This allows me to recharge completely during the off days, and then I can take care of the patients in the future. I can take care of the patients better on the days that I'm working. And I think that is very important because you focus also on the wellness and to avoid resident getting burned out. And that is the part of the culture in the US, in residency in the US, that I love and I want to be part of it. So the way you deliver it would be a little different, more professional, but the idea will stay the same. The idea during the interview, of the interview, has to be the same. That's it. That's a simple rule of thumb to make sure that you stay consistent and true to yourself. So that is the video for today. I know I didn't cover about all the technical things, like, you know, as you see in the video clip on the person number 3, it looks up the camera, looks up the ceiling, it's not eye level. There's a couple things that we can fix, and then of course the answers can be reviewed and then much stronger, etc. I didn't discuss all of that today. But you can definitely come to my webinar, why and how you can match with small number of interviews, even if it's just one. Again, there's a link down the description below. You click that one and then put your name, email, address, and then you get the whole information on how to get that. That's the video for today. I hope that's helpful. You can put in a comment down below. What is your aha moment? What's the light bulb moment? What's it being the most helpful for you? I would love to hear your comments. I'll see you next time for more USMLE and residency matching tips. Bye now.